The series finale of Force may have left us with more questions than answers, and I think that I may have figured out Tariq's hidden motives. The Force finale didn't just end a season, it quietly reset the entire Power universe, and if you blinked, you might have missed the moment that changes everything going forward. The episode opens at JP's funeral, and it immediately sets the emotional tone for the finale. Kate Egan delivers a heartbreaking eulogy where she finally owns her failures as a mother and asks Tommy for forgiveness. In the middle of her grief, she also plants an important seed, telling Tommy that D-Mac has a home waiting for him in New York, subtly teasing the possibility of him leaving Chicago and reconnecting with family. Outside the church, Jannard and CBI are prepared to strike, planning to take Tommy out at his most vulnerable moment. What they weren't expecting was how prepared Tommy already was. Tommy had protection from the insane princes and law enforcement, forcing Jannard to pull back and live to fight another day. As Tommy heads to the cemetery, danger follows him once again. Jimmy, acting on orders from Vic Flynn, ambushes him, but the move backfires. Tommy kills Jimmy and makes it clear that he's done playing games, vowing to wipe out Vic and Ray and put an end to the Flynn bloodline once and for all. Vic, now officially on the run, is hiding under the alias Jason Booker, stripped of power and identity. Meanwhile, Jannard is spiraling. Between his addiction and the loss of Diamond, he's at a breaking point, but seeing an old photo of him and his brother becomes a turning point. He chooses to stay clean, and for me, this moment confirmed that Jannard was going to survive the finale. When he discovers that Raheem was the snitch working with Shanti, he kills him without hesitation, sending a clear warning to anyone in CBI who might think about betraying him. Mireya, fearing for her unborn child, initially plans to flee to Mexico, but Tommy tries to convince her to stay in a safe house where he can protect her. At the same time, a massive power shift happens behind the scenes as the Estrada and Marquez cartels merge. Their condition is simple and brutal: Roberto Ortega has to die. Tommy takes him out, effectively cutting off CBI's drug supply in one move. This is another example of the show building up Ortega all season as a major threat, only to eliminate him quickly once his purpose in the story is served. Tommy then makes a strategic play by meeting with Gray Skull and the RDs, looking to lock in another alliance. He reveals the truth about King Kilo's death, exposing that Jannard was the one who actually killed him. That revelation flips the board, causing the remaining gangs to shift their loyalty to Tommy. On the legal front, Sang is confronted by Bobby DeFranco with evidence tying him to corruption and the Marquez cartel. Sang chooses self-preservation and murders DeFranco, framing both him and Stacy Marks as leaders of a drug ring. With that move, Tommy is basically given free rein in Chicago, with law enforcement out of his way. Shanti attempts to manipulate Jannard by proposing that they reunite to take out Tommy, but both of them sense something is off. Shanti realizes Jannard isn't buying what she's selling, while Jannard knows Shanti is trying to set him up. Instead of walking away, Jannard plans to use her as a way to get closer to Tommy. Jannard moves his operation, and Grayskull leaks that information to Tommy, setting the stage for the final confrontation. D-Mac makes a defining choice of his own. He gives Genesis money for school, says goodbye, and decides to ride with Tommy instead of moving to Atlanta. Atlanta keeps getting mentioned across both Power Book 2 and Force, and I don't think that's accidental. With Kane and Genesis already out there, it feels like another city that could play a major role in Legacy. As Tommy heads home to take Mireya to the safe house, he realizes she's already gone. She leaves him a letter explaining that she left Chicago for her own safety and is staying with family, urging Tommy to focus on winning the war before coming to get her. We later learn that Mireya is in Mexico when Tommy mentions her departure to Miguel. Everything then explodes at the lumberyard, where Tommy's crew launches an all-out attack on Jannard and the Coalition. Bullets are flying, bodies are dropping, and both Miguel and Shanti are wounded. Just as it looks like Tommy is finished and most of his soldiers are down, Tariq St. Patrick arrives from New York, in a truly ghost-like entrance, saving Tommy at the last possible moment. After the dust settles, Jannard is completely abandoned. Bones, Smurf, and the DSDs all turn their backs on him, leaving him with nothing. Tommy places Shanti in charge of the Chicago operation, telling her that she reminds him of Liliana. Vic Flynn, miserable in witness protection, makes the reckless decision to return to Chicago and teams up with Jnard, uniting over their shared hatred for Tommy. Tariq then reveals to Tommy that his New York operation has hit a wall and that he needs a new partner. The two finally put the past behind them and decide to go operational in both cities, heading back to New York together. That brings us to the biggest questions coming out of the finale. What are Tariq's true motives, and why did he seem so cold and emotionless throughout his time in Chicago? One moment that really stood out was his interaction with D-Mac. When D-Mac talked about Tommy always having his back and mentioned that Tommy has a child on the way, Tariq barely reacted. No smile, no excitement, no kind of emotion at all. In my opinion, Tariq's demeanor makes sense when you consider where he currently is mentally. He has fully embraced the criminal lifestyle, getting rid of the old version of himself. His coldness could have been intentional, as a way to ground D-Mac and show him that emotions get you killed in this world, very similar to how Kanan first approached Tariq in Power. Tariq has lived through betrayal after betrayal, the deaths of Ghost and Reyna included, and at this point he views the streets through a purely calculated lens. All season long, I've said that the Tariq we saw in the Book 2 finale is not the same kid we met in Power. Despite all the doubters who didn't believe Tommy would call Tariq for help, I kept pointing out how much power Tariq currently has. Carter's former law enforcement team is on his payroll, Davis McLean is firmly in his pocket, giving him a heads up on any investigation before it even starts, and most importantly, he's turned Noma's brother into his main connect and distributor. That power was on full display in force when Tariq arrived with some of Noma's brother's soldiers to back him up. But when it comes to Tommy, Tariq's guarded energy feels different. There are plenty of reasons why Tariq might still be holding something back. Tariq could still resent Tommy for refusing to help him in Book 2 Season 3, when he was at war with Noma, telling him it wasn't his fight. Now, roles are reversed, and Tariq shows up to save Tommy, which could make him feel like Tommy owes him. There could also be a hint of jealousy, in the way D-Mac talks about Tommy having his back unconditionally, something Tariq never truly felt when he needed it most. But beyond that, I think that there's a lot Tariq isn't saying. When he tells Tommy that things got shaken up in New York, and that he needs a new partner, that line feels loaded, pointing to something that clearly happened since we last saw Tariq on screen. It could be new competition threatening his promise to Noma's brother, forcing Tariq to escalate more product being sold. Or it could be something much bigger. One theory is that Elisa Marie is now grown and fully entrenched in the Italian mob, seeking revenge for her father's death. If the Italians made a move against Tariq, threatening to kidnap and kill Tasha and Yaz, to force him into bringing Tommy back to New York, that would explain a lot. It could explain Tariq's unease, as well as the eerie sound effects when D-Mac mentioned Tommy having a child on the way, something Tariq may not have considered before coming to Chicago. Seeing how powerful Tommy's Chicago operation is, might have given Tariq ideas of his own, possibly trying to leverage both cities under his control. And Tariq knows that if the feds ever realize Tommy is alive and back in New York, he becomes a massive liability. Family or not, Tariq will always do what benefits him the most. At the same time, it could be much simpler. This might just be the new Tariq, fully embracing the side of Ghost that he once hated, but reshaped into his own version of power. Tariq still doesn't fully trust Tommy after everything that they've been through, so keeping his guard up makes sense. Speaking of Ghost, just like I predicted early on, he didn't appear in the finale. The stakes weren't high enough, and neither Tommy's nor Tariq's story is anywhere near finished. With Joseph Sikora recently revealing that he and Gary Lennon are working on a power movie centered on Tommy, it seems like bringing Ghost back on the big screen would be the ultimate move. But one moment in particular made me seriously reconsider a long-standing theory of mine. When D-Mac tells Tariq that he heard Tariq lost his father too, Tariq looks away, pauses, and an eerie sound effect plays before he answers. That hesitation is strange. Tariq already had supposed closure over killing Ghost, so why the discomfort? Why underline that moment with unsettling music? It makes me wonder if Tariq was involved in Ghost faking his death all along, just as I theorized in my Ghost Town video from a year ago. Both of them wanted something from each other in Season 6 of Power. Ghost wanted Tariq in school, away from the streets, while Tariq wanted Ghost out of his life. What if Ghost stepped away to let Tariq learn the hard way, to experience firsthand what it took to become a drug kingpin? We never saw a truly unbiased version of their final conversation. Episodes 10 and 15 showed completely different perspectives. What if the truth is in a perspective that we never saw? What if Ghost had Tariq shoot him in a specific spot while wearing a vest, knowing the fall would sell the illusion? It sounds crazy, but we've already seen Tariq give Tommy the idea to fake his own death. If it ever comes out that Tariq was in on it from the start, it would be one of the biggest twists in television. Imagine Ghost showing up, only for Tariq to be unfazed as if he already knew Ghost didn't die. Adding even more fuel to that theory, a subscriber on my channel recently pointed out that showrunner Gary Lennon liked his post about the final episodes of Power being shot a certain way and about Ghost returning in Legacy. That tells me the showrunner knows exactly what fans are questioning and that there's more beneath the surface. With Tommy heading back to New York just as predicted, and Braden seemingly confirmed for Legacy by not only Gianni, but Joseph Sikora as well in a recent interview, the stakes are about to hit an entirely new level, with numerous potential enemies coming after both Tommy and Tariq. Especially now with Jnard teaming up with Vic, and possibly going after Tommy in New York. There are numerous ways that Vic and Jnard would not only be able to find Tommy back in New York, but they could also cause disruptions to both Tommy and Tariq's operations. Keep in mind that Vic knows that Tommy is a wanted man back in New York, and he could definitely use that to his advantage, being that he's already been an informant in the past. I'm curious to know your opinion on the finale, and how you think things will play out in Legacy. Let me know down below in the comment section. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe for all things within the Power universe. See you all next time in the universe of Power.